Let's meet Arturo, since the story is about him. Arturo led a daily life like that of any other teenager, not long ago out of the ordinary. His routine was to go in the morning to high school, going out trying football, and in the afternoon dedicate himself to do his homework and spend his free time with his family. Plus, Arturo, like anyone else, you have tastes. He likes to play and watch football, video games, listen to music, watch movies and series, and of all, spend quality time with friends and family. Since always, Arturo has been someone very focused who likes to give everything in all of the things he does. He never gives up and is seen by other people as being kind, respectful, and very sympathetic. However, as he grew, the challenges for him began to be bigger that seemed impossible to overcome, and one of those challenges was the university. For Arturo, the whole process of choosing the university in which he was going to study and the career was a whole process full of uncertainty and doubts. He did not want to make mistakes and he wanted to choose the best options. Besides that, he was afraid to get away from his friends and family by having to go to another city to study. But at the end of the day, by asking for advice, Arturo was able to make a confident decision of himself. But now that was no longer a problem, new problems and challenges lured him. He was afraid to enter to a totally unknown place and away from the people who had accompanied him before. He was afraid of being rejected and not feeling comfortable in this new place. However, despite being away from his family and friends, they were his main allies to stay strong and firm before the problems he had. They always gave him the support and great advice that helped him get ahead. After all, the first day of school came, and although everything seemed to be going well, Arturo still felt a lot of uncertainty about what was going to happen. Besides that, everything was not so simple to have his first classes through a screen. So, not being able to live with people made it more difficult to make new friendships and form new alliances for their way through college. Yet, their first ally came in an unexpected way but very timely way. This helped Arturo begin to move out of his comfort zone and lose the fear and uncertainty that did not allow him to move forward so comfortably. Everything seemed to go better for Arturo, since he was able to go for the first time to take face-to-face classes at the university. He was able to meet new people and also began to adapt to the new rules and his new way of living away from the people with whom he had spent most of his time in the last 3 years. He was happy and at ease with the decision he had made. However, the problems kept coming, and they were getting bigger and harder. Even sometimes Arturo thought about giving up, but always thought that it will help him grow and become stronger. As I told you, one of the first and most difficult challenges was that when he entered the university was afraid of rejection, since he entered a completely unknown place without really having someone there who could give him the support. We can relate this with the Wendigo, which is a creature typical of the mythology of the ancient settlers of Canada and the United States. This legend served to dissuade the tribes from terrible practices during the harsh winter, such as cannibalism. It can be related, since said creature, according to its legend, devours anyone who dares to enter the forest of the Great Lakes region. So for Arturo, those forests were the little openness on his part towards other people and at the same time the same university. That's why, in order to fight and beat the Wendigo, he had to open his mind and heart in order to avoid being swallowed up in his own forest of fear. At the same time, during his first semester of the university, Arturo faced another great challenge, the challenge of choosing his career. Since when he entered the university, he went with the mentality of studying accounting. However, during the common trunk of business area, when carrying out classes of different careers, his decision was no longer so clear, since there were classes that he liked even more than the accounting ones. That is why Arturo entered into a dilemma about whether the decision he was going to make was going to be the correct one, or over time he was going to regret it. That is why we can relate this to Quetzalcoatl, the most powerful god for Teotihuacans, Mexicas, Toltecs, Olmecs, and Mayas. It can be related since he had to take the main characteristics of Quetzalcoatl, having duality and balance between the physical condition of man due to his serpentine body and his spiritual part due to his feathers. Therefore, in order to overcome this challenge, he had to make the decision both with his heart and beliefs, as well as with his head, maintaining a balance between what he liked and what he is good at in order to make the best decision. Last but not least, another great challenge that Arturo faced was having to separate from his closest high school friends because they went to study at a different campus than the one he chose. It was hard for Arturo since he knew he had to go back to the start from scratch to make new friends, so we can associate this challenge with Anansi, one of the most important characters in the legends of West Africa and the Caribbean. It can be associated since he is a very wise man who has the wisdom to know what to let go and what not. This can be good or bad depending on the point of view from which we see it. Seeing it from the good side, learning to let go is a great learning process. It is important to know not to cling to things and to be willing to change. And this will make the adaptation process easier. Just as to overcome these challenges, in addition to having to be strong, there were people who always supported him. Such people were people from the past, as his friends from high school, just like his family and his new allies and friends from the university. All of them were fundamental for Arturo to get ahead. At the same time, there were people who came and supported him, but Arturo, over the time, realized that they were not really good allies, so he had to decide to take different paths from them. Although they were not all the way with him, they left him learnings that made him stronger, not to fall back into the same mistakes. During the journey of Arturo, there were also temptations, that the only thing they did was to distance him from his objective and towards his more difficult way. In addition, there were temptations that made him feel good, and therefore it was more difficult to get away from them, because although they hurt him and he knew it was not the right thing, many times he did it because of the good feeling he felt when falling into those temptations. Such temptations were to party before doing his tasks, procrastinate and leave the important for later. This affected him a lot because he had many tasks and projects to do that caused him a lot of stress, and many times he did not sleep properly because he fell over and over again in those temptations and did not have a well-established schedule. Thanks to all the experience, Arturo became a stronger and more virtuous person with new skills and abilities that even he thought he would never be able to get. All the learnings led him to continue advancing with greater capacity on the path that at first seemed impossible. Similarly, thanks to all his allies, got new perspective on how to manage his problems, and although our hero Arturo is still on the track to achieve his main goal, which is to graduate. Every day he becomes stronger and stronger, taking firm and safe steps. He is more and more confident every day, and that gives him enough strength to not stop and achieve being the person he wants and is willing to do. Also, he is aware that he still has a long journey ahead, but at the same time is willing to face everything that comes. For Arturo, it is always important to remember there is no big goal if there is no small mind, because he firmly believes that we put our limits mentally, and this internal barrier is what prevents us many times to continue growing. Thank you.